Welcome to Acoustic Guitar, Episode 10, Classical Guitar Proficiency. Well, when it comes to developing detailed acoustic skills like performing arpeggios or 2 or even 3 note chords mixed with melody lines, along with upper and lower melodic phrases, and doing things like counterpoint, plus very accurate and very skillful finger-picking techniques, the world of classical guitar pretty much has it all. So in this episode of Acoustic Guitar, we're going to take a run through several different exercises that will focus on important areas of classical guitar proficiency that I think every acoustic player can study in order to help them zero in on the key concepts used within the structure pieces for classical guitar. So let's get started. In example 1, we're going to be working on some arpeggio development studies. Now, the focus is going to be having our thumb performing on the low register strings of 6th and 5th and 4th. All these lower strings here, those are our lower register. We're going to be controlling those with our thumb. And then using our index, middle, and ring fingers, we're going to be targeting the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. Now, when we set this up, we'll have 2 chords for the different exercises. We'll have a C major chord, and we'll also have a G dominant 7th chord. All right. Now for the sounds, we'll be breaking down these different ideas mainly in 2 parts. The first part is going to be walking in more of a ascending fashion through the tones, and we're going to be alternating bass note on that. So we'll start on the C chord, move from the 5th string, and then we'll have our index, middle, and ring taking care of the top 3. Then we're going to shift our thumb of the plucking hand over to the 4th string, 2nd fret, play that note, and then carry on with the same tones that we were dealing with before on the upper 3 strings. So we have 5th string root, and then 4th string root. Then when we shift to the G dominant 7th chord, we're going to have that chord with the B in the bass, starting out with B in the bass there on that first example. And again, we're carrying through the string sets. And we're alternating the bass. The first hit takes place from 5th string, and then it goes to 4th string. And we're just holding on the top of the guitar there. We're holding the D and the F tones with our small finger and our index finger. So that's the first study. It's more of an ascending study. In the second part of the study, though, what we're going to do next is we're going to play the bass note and then carry on from the top string, carrying into the 4th guitar string. So we'll have bass tone with the thumb, and then carrying from the top 1st guitar string, we'll have open 1st, open, and 2nd frets, carrying through that C chord. And then we'll do one more swipe across those upper 3 strings with the ring, middle, and index fingers. So altogether, in the first measure of the second part of the study, that's more of a descending part, we're going to go like this: bass tone, and then descend, and then double back. That's the C chord. Then what we're going to do next for this arpeggio study is we're going to go into the root of the G now, down off of the low 6th string, 3rd fret. We're still going to keep those same similar tones that we had from before, that D tone on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and that high F on the 1st fret with index finger. And we're going to hit the low bass tone and then go through those upper tones, but we're going to alternate the bass tone to bring in that B at the 2nd fret of 5th string. And that's going to be our shift there. So we have the low G, and then the B tone. And then you'd revert back to the C again. And I would highly suggest looping these studies. But put them into a loop, just like you heard me play it at the very beginning of this video clip. So that's example 1. It's a nice arpeggio development study. I probably make this look very easy, but I guarantee you when you start trying to do this on your own, it's going to, to get the accuracy and get the real clear tone, it's going to take a little bit of work to get it. So just be patient with yourself. Classical guitar is about getting the best tone and the most clarity and the most perfect fretting that you possibly can, so you have really clear note choices and they sound just, really razor sharp. Anyway, let's take a short break and come back in a moment with example number 2, where I've got some nice 2-note chord ideas happening within a melody. In example 2, I have this really nice 2-note chord melody idea going on, and the idea overall is really development of 2-note chord playing, and it's really vital to establishing good classical technique. And I think what happens here mostly in example 2 is we have a lot of instances where we've got these 2-note chord intervals that are occurring closely, as close as 2 adjacent strings, but some of them are a little farther apart. We have a width there at one point from 5th string to 1st. So, you learn these shapes on their own a little bit first. Get your hand used to it, because again, your thumb is going to track those low tones, and then middle or ring or index is going to track up on top. Let's take a look at what's happening in the first measure. We've got these 2 open strings of 1st and 3rd, and then we're going to work our way to the interior notes of 2nd string into 3rd string, and then reach up to a high 3rd fret on 1st, and then we'll have open 1st over into the 1st fret of 2nd string. Really nice little melody and work out there, especially for your plucking hand, because that's this hand that you want to get tracking as best as you can to the different string sets. Alright, and you can see how I'm using that hand there. Let's move on to the second measure. I've got this 2-note chord between 3rd to 2nd strings there. I'm using index and middle fingers to pluck on that idea, and then I'm going to work my way to these open strings. And then I'm going to go to the larger span that I have here between 5th string and 1st string. It's a low B and a high G. Then I'm walking down there on the 2nd string, D into open 2nd string, B. So from the front end of that measure, it's got a D in it, pardon me. And then the larger interval. Plucking the D to the open B string. One more time. And then we're going to work over to the next measure, 3rd measure, where we have open A with a C natural tone on that 2nd fret of 2nd string there. Or 1st fret of the 2nd string, pardon me. And then we have our open E coming up on top there, and then we have a C tone and an A tone on 2nd string to 3rd string. Then we have a lot of busy stuff happening at the last measure on the 4th measure. We've got 5th and 2nd strings together there, and then into the open 3rd, and then we go to that 2nd fret of the 5th string with open 2nd, then open 3rd, and then we're going to have 1st fret of 2nd string with open 5th string. And then we're going to have an A tone come up on the 3rd string, and then we're going to need a B in the bass with an open B, so an octave there, coming around to an open G to finish things off. So a lot of movement there. You can see the fingerings that I'm using, middle and small finger. And then index up top there on that 2nd string. Then middle finger reaching down to get that low B. So there's a lot of movement happening there on that last measure. So you put it all together, you get a really nice melody there, but really what's pushing things in this is those cool sounding two-note chords. So take your time with that one. It's very nice sounding, and it's going to teach you a lot of good ideas with your right and left hand techniques, you know, to be able to track. You can tell I'm using all 4 fingers of my fretting hand, and then on the plucking hand, it's thumb, index, middle, and ring. Some constant usage going on. You can tell I'm not using my small finger. It rarely gets used in classical guitar. Once in a while, you may need it to play a larger chord shape or something. You know, but for the most part, it doesn't get a lot of action. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up here in example 2 now. We'll take a short break and then come back for example 3, where I've got some very cool sounding ideas of upper and lower melody that I'm going to teach you, and it's got just some very neat ideas happening in this piece for example 3. But we'll come back in just a moment after a short break, and we'll get going on that one yet, and that's going to bring us to the end of part 1 when we finish that, and then still there's going to be part 2 of the video yet, so there's lots more to go before we wrap up this lesson on classical guitar proficiency. Hey everyone, Andrew Wasson. Just wanted to make a quick announcement about CreativeGuitarStudio.com. You know, if you haven't grabbed a free membership yet, just head to the website, click on Create Account, fill this form out, and you got a free lifetime account to the website. Once that's in place, you can just jump into the members area here where we got all the lesson plans. And my quick announcement I wanted to make is I'm really excited because we've got the latest installment in the Advanced Guitar program posted to the site. Now, in the Advanced Guitar program is packed full of information. Each of these project lessons is around 2.5 hours of instruction. There's probably around 160 to 180 hours of instruction just in these lesson plans alone. The latest installment covers minor pentatonic, and there's 24 videos. This lesson plan is 2 hours and 45 minutes long when you run through all the lessons. If you've got a full premium membership, you can download the course files and an MP3 jam track. It's really quite the program. So if you're looking for a really serious guitar course online, right from beginner, you know, I've got the introductory program here, or intermediate, if you feel like you're more of an intermediate player and you want to work through, you know, lesson plans that are really geared to understanding the guitar fingerboard much better. You know, so if that's kind of your level, I've got those set up. But, you know, a lot of people really enjoy the advanced material. It's all the major scales, major 7 arpeggios and chords and minors and pentatonics and lots of improvisation exercises throughout here. So if you really want to jump into some great step-by-step material that is really organized, and in no way is it some kind of random guitar course. Like, I know I've heard so many complaints over the years about all the random lessons, and then probably for a lot of you, you're sick of the random lessons on YouTube that don't follow any kind of order and sequence. Well, you know, grab your free membership, start with that. But, you know, when you're ready to advance to sort of the next level there, you can grab one of my membership plans. Basic monthly membership's $19.95 a month, and then if you want to upgrade to the premium package, you do save $60. It's a one-time payment of $179.40, but that does give you full access to everything on the site. If you want a great step-by-step, well-organized guitar course, just head over to CreativeGuitarStudio.com and set up your membership today. In example 3, I have this really nice practice of an upper and lower melody line. There's lots going on in it. I have simultaneous upper and lower register melody concepts that sort of blend against one another. And there's also that nice waltz feel that this piece has with some of the broken chords and some 16th note repeating phrases that are also really cool. And, you know, all together, when you put it, you know, as one unit, it makes for a very, very nice piece. Now, what I would suggest, though, is go nice nice and slow with it and totally get together the feel and the timing, because there's some very specifics, you know, that are happening with the sense of meter on this one. Now let's start from the first measure. We have an open 4th string with our 1st fret 2nd string played together. Then we're hitting that low G, going into an open 2nd string B, and then heading down to an open 4th string there. So we got a nice mishmash of directions there with notes. Okay, then we're going to go and grab a high A with the 5th fret there, and an open 3rd string G. Under that, we're going to play a series of tones on the 4th guitar string. Just like that. I'm using my ring finger and index to take care of those notes on 4th string there. Then what we're going to do is grab this C sharp down lower on the 5th string with an open 1st. And then we're going to grab an A with the index finger and then do a lower register A. So altogether that measure. Alright, some nice A major sounds there. And then what we're going to do next is get that A happening again with sort of an inversion process to it. We're going to play the octave of open A and the 2nd fret A on 3rd string. But then we're going to get this C sharp coming in and then go across the E and the A like that. So, and then just down into that lower 5th string there. So, right. Now after that, we're going to move into a low F sharp. That'll come up, kind of a real dramatic entry for that sound. And then on that, we're going to have those steady 16ths plugging away. You can see how I'm doing that with middle and index fingers of the plucking hand there. And then we're going to have the same thing again showing up there on that 3rd fret note on the 6th string, coming into G, and then open B. Alright, so those are our 2 pedal ideas that were happening with those high notes. And then we're going to have some melody crisscrossing here from low notes to high notes. You hear that moving from low C, open E, low D, 4th string open, to a high G, and then again 4th string open D to an F sharp. And then we're going to have that 3rd fret 1st string with open 3rd and 4th. And then down over to the low G. So it's very different. Okay, really nice sounds though, and just the way upper and lower register melody comes across. It's just very interesting. Now it's not exactly easy to perform because you really got to have your mind together on how the overall melody is getting, you know, portrayed. So you've got to keep the idea of the piece forefront of your mind for what kind of melodic structure is there, how the rhythm accents operate, and getting it all together at once. Now once you have that clear in your mind, it's going to make it a lot easier to be able to perform the sections of the piece, because you won't be so worried about, you know, how does this rhythm aspect occur, and how does this next piece of the meter function, and, you know, how do these notes function. You know, you have to be thinking a lot in, I would say, a big picture scenario, because it's just so much more helpful when you're doing this type of work. So anyway, now what we've done is we've gone through quite a number of different examples for you. We've taken care of arpeggio development studies. We've gone through some nice 2-note chord concepts. Now we've got this practice of upper-lower melody happening here. So there's quite a lot that we've done now in part 1 of this lesson plan, and this actually brings us to the end of part 1. Now coming up in part 2, I think you're really going to enjoy it, because I've got some very interesting concepts happening here. In examples 4 and 5, I've got these integrated 3-note chord concepts I want to discuss. I'm going to be going through quite a few of them. I'll have a number of different shapes that we'll be breaking down. All of them will pretty much be here in the open position, and we'll be running through shapes that are just going to be a little bit different sometimes. You know, I've got some interesting ones. I'm going to be moving through there, kind of like a D minor sound I want to generate there for you. So very interesting study coming up in example 4 with integrated 3-note chord concepts. In example 5, I've got this nice concept coming up on developing speed with 16th notes. So, you know, I've got some, you know, a little bit faster runs. You coming through some other note choices too that we'll take a look at, and we'll do some, runs down the neck and come up with some pretty interesting scale lines, basically. And I think you'll find it quite enjoyable. It'll be helpful for your technique as well. So anyway, that's going to be coming up in part 2. Now, you're going to need a membership to be able to access part 2 of this lesson plan. So to get a membership to the site, just head over to creativeguitarstudio.com. You can start with a free membership, check out all the material on the site, and then when you feel you're ready, you can either pull the basic monthly lesson plan, or you could go for the annual, which is called Premium. That gives you access to absolutely everything on the site, including all the worksheets and MP3s that go along with the full courses, because these exercises that I have here for you on acoustic guitar, or a lot of the other elective classes that I've got that I run on YouTube, these are basically electives. They're sort of random lesson plans that focus on certain topics, but the actual courses of the beginner program, intermediate, and advanced courses that I have on the site, that's where you're really going to learn. They're super structured, very step by step. There's really nothing like it that I've ever seen online. These are very unique courses, and they're in great detail, just like you find me doing all these other classes here that are the general elective classes. So definitely check it out. If you don't have a membership yet, go to creativeguitarstudio.com and set up everything for yourself today. I think you're really going to enjoy it on the site. So otherwise, I'll see you soon. Take care and good luck practicing the stuff here from part 1. Smooth Jazz Chords introduces chord types that offer a very different sound from the chords that are used in almost every other style of music. The Smooth Jazz Chords video lesson is a 2-part course that demonstrates chord types that are used in the smooth jazz style. These chords are often referred to as triad over bass note chords, and the lesson demonstrates these chord shapes as well as their use using both diagrams and example progressions. Smooth Jazz Chords is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com. Thanks for watching part 1 of the lesson. Be sure to sign up for a membership at creativeguitarstudio.com to watch part 2. In part 2, we'll be integrating 3-note chords and learn how to develop speed with the 16th note phrases. Plus, as a member, you'll also be able to download the handout for this lesson along with many more professional guitar lessons. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up next in the members area.